Thunderbird listed #1 mid-specialty car by Motor Trend.
And the Super Coupe was hailed as a breakthrough car by Road and Track.
Taurus SHO touted as America's best sedan by Car and Driver.
Probe, just added to Car and Driver's 10 best cars for 1989.
Mustang, a car that delivers the most sheer fun, dollar for dollar. Automobile Magazine.
Hello, I'm Nancy Rice.
Hi, I'm Jim Hale.
Welcome back to Competition Today. In this segment, we'll look at the rest of the Ford car lineup and their primary competition, starting with perhaps the most exciting product news for 1989, the all-new Ford Thunderbird.
The Thunderbird gives Ford a true grand slam in performance cars. With the Super Coupe, Probe GT, Mustang GT, and Taurus SHO, 4 legitimate performance vehicles for you to sell. And Thunderbird Super Coupe has been named Motor Trend's 1989 Car of the Year. You know, Thunderbird's been a winner for Ford ever since its introduction back in 1955. But in the last few years, sales have really taken off, thanks in large part to your tremendous sales effort. Actually, in the last 4 model years, T-Bird has been the #1 seller in the personal luxury car segment.
That's remarkable. Winning Car of the Year 2 years ago and again this year. That's just one more reason Thunderbird's name is one of the most recognized in the auto industry. And the 1989 Thunderbird once again sets a new standard for performance luxury cars.
General Motors is making a big play in this middle specialty segment with its family of GM 10 cars. Widely reported as the biggest, most expensive car development program in GM's history, there were 3 two-door coupes introduced this past year. Buick got the Regal, Pontiac the Grand Prix, and Oldsmobile the Cutlass Supreme. None of the models has set the world on fire. In fact, sales of the GM 10s may have been somewhat disappointing to General Motors. But with the sales GM has lost to Ford, a lot is riding on these cars. And you can bet they'll spend a lot of money marketing and advertising all 3 vehicles. With all the promotion GM has been giving the cars, chances are the T-Bird prospects will be familiar with them.
From a technical standpoint, the 3 GM 10 cars are very similar, although there are styling and equipment differences. For our comparison, we'll look at how Thunderbird matches up against the Pontiac Grand Prix. Pontiac positions itself as GM's performance division, and so far at least, the Grand Prix seems to be the most successful of the GM 10 cars.
To make that comparison, here's Kurt Miner.
Thanks, Jim. Today, in comparing these cars, we'll look at 4 main areas: performance, handling, interior size, and equipment. All are important to buyers in this segment, and a thorough analysis will show T-Bird's clear advantages. One of T-Bird's significant advantages over Grand Prix is under the hood. It's a very important consideration for mid-sized specialty segment buyers who typically want a car with power. A Grand Prix standard engine is a 2.8-liter V6 that develops 130 horsepower at 4,500 RPM. That's no match for Thunderbird. Thunderbird's much larger 3.8-liter V6 develops 140 horsepower at only 3,800 RPM. Now, that's an advantage of 10 horsepower at a much lower RPM. Now, that's significant because the higher the RPM, the harder the engine has to work. Thunderbird's power advantage carries over to torque. Grand Prix's engine develops 170 foot-pounds of torque at 3,600 RPM. The Thunderbird develops 215 foot-pounds of torque at only 2,400 RPM. Again, the power is available nearer the normal driving range. The Grand Prix also features multiple-port electronic fuel injection. However, it can't match Thunderbird's sequential electronic fuel injection, which more precisely measures fuel into the cylinder by timing it with the intake valve opening. Of course, there's more to performance than just raw power, and prospects who compare will see T-Bird's ride and handling advantages over the Grand Prix. For one thing, Thunderbird has larger standard 15-inch wheels compared to the 14-inch wheels of Grand Prix. Perhaps the biggest difference between Thunderbird and Grand Prix is T-Bird's rear-wheel drive. While front-wheel drive does have its advantages in ice or snow, it's really no match for rear-wheel drive when it comes to performance. It's a simple matter of physics. In a front-wheel drive car, the front tires really have to do double duty, steer and brake or accelerate at the same time. This can create a tendency for the car to understeer. But with rear-wheel drive, those functions are divided. The rear tires transmit the power, and the front end steers for a positive cornering feel. That's why European performance cars like Porsche, Mercedes, Jaguar, and BMW use rear-wheel drive technology. Now, you may run across a Thunderbird prospect who's more concerned with traction in ice or snow. In that case, front-wheel drive is an advantage. And if the prospect is adamant, it might be a better idea to move him or her to a Taurus, or possibly a Probe. But many performance buyers really prefer rear-wheel drive. In fact, many owners of rear-wheel drive Cutlass Supreme, Monte Carlo, or Grand Prix vehicles may feel abandoned by GM's switch and should become excellent prospects for Thunderbird. The 1989 Thunderbird has a decided wheelbase advantage over the Grand Prix, 5.5 inches to be exact. A longer wheelbase helps contribute to a smoother ride. However, that wheelbase doesn't sacrifice maneuverability. Even with the longer wheelbase, Thunderbird's curb-to-curb turning diameter is only about 35.5 feet. Now that's over 3 feet shorter than Grand Prix, giving T-Bird better maneuverability. About the only advantage Grand Prix has is standard four-wheel disc brakes, compared to Thunderbird's front disc, rear drum brakes. Of course, four-wheel disc brakes with anti-lock braking system is now available as an option on all Thunderbirds. Overall, the 1989 Thunderbird has substantial advantages over Grand Prix, in power and in handling. And the advantages continue, because the longer wheelbase and wider track have substantially increased T-Bird's interior space. In fact, T-Bird beats Grand Prix and other GM10 models in every interior measurement. And in several categories, the advantages are substantial. Almost 6 inches more front hip room, almost 2 inches more front and rear shoulder room, and 4 inches more rear hip room. Pontiac brags about 6 passenger seating for the Grand Prix, with 3 up front. But think about it. How many mid-specialty car buyers are looking for 3-person seating up front? A T-Bird gives extra room where it's needed. Comfortable seating for 2 people up front and 3 in the back. The T-Bird advantage really continues when you compare option packages. I'll take the base Grand Prix with its highest content option package, number 1 SC, and put it against our Focus model, the standard Thunderbird with preferred equipment package 151B. Each package includes tilt steering, cruise control, and power door locks. The Grand Prix adds interval wipers and power windows, but both are standard on T-Bird. Look how much extra that you get with Thunderbird. For example, Thunderbird's luxury light convenience group includes cornering lamps, dual illuminated visor vanity mirrors, and vehicle maintenance monitor, items not offered on Grand Prix's light group. Thunderbird also offers dual electric remote control mirrors, AM/FM stereo with cassette, 6-way power driver and passenger seats, rear window defroster, styled road wheel covers, and bright window moldings. In every major category, performance, handling, size, and equipment, Thunderbird clearly soars over Grand Prix. And now, Jim and Nancy, back to you.
Thunderbird, now that's a great car. And how about the all-new Thunderbird Super Coupe?
Super Coupe, quite simply, is a world-class car with world-class features at less than world-class prices.
It's a pretty strong statement.
Actually, it's difficult to talk about other cars competing with the Super Coupe. There really aren't any that deliver anywhere near the performance, sophistication, features, and handling for even close to Super Coupe's price.
We can eliminate Acura's Legend L Coupe quickly. While it's a well-respected automobile, it does not have rear-wheel drive or a supercharger. It offers 50 horsepower less and about 50% less torque and is priced about $6,400 more than Super Coupe. Nissan will reportedly introduce a new 300ZX model in the spring. But for now, you're selling Super Coupe against the carryover 300ZX 2+2 model, which has neither anti-lock brakes nor Thunderbird's interior room. And the 2+2 model isn't available with the turbocharged engine, which means that it supplies 21% less horsepower than Super Coupe. Toyota Supra offers ABS only at additional cost. And while the base model is within about $2,300 of Super Coupe, if you compare the turbocharged model with Super Coupe, the difference is over $6,400. And like Nissan's 2+2, Supra's interior room is much less accommodating than Super Coupe. That leaves BMW's 325 IS. It does offer rear-wheel drive, four-wheel independent suspension, and standard anti-lock brakes. The BMW inline six-cylinder engine, however, is 42 horsepower short of Super Coupe. And look at the sticker price, over $8,300 more than Super Coupe.
The numbers are certainly convincing, but let's see what some of the top automotive buff magazines have to say. Car and Driver says, it's the best driving Thunderbird since God put thunder in the skies and birds in the trees. In its annual Top 10 issue, Motor Trend rated Super Coupe as the top new car buy in the personal luxury segment, ahead of the Acura Legend Coupe and the $47,000 BMW 635 CSI. And here's how Road and Track closed its review of the new 1989 Super Coupe. The car American automakers couldn't build 10 years ago, but considering how good the new car is, it seems to have been worth the wait.
The numbers are impressive. The words are impressive. The car is impressive.
It sounds like Ford is in a better position than ever.
They are. They've got performance covered, especially when you consider the addition of Taurus SHO. Both Super Coupe and the Taurus SHO are creating new excitement because they're truly world-class cars at far less than world-class prices.
SHO, that's the one with a high-performance engine.
That's right, Nancy. The 3-liter V6 engine utilizes 24 valves, a double overhead cam, and other components to deliver 220 horses and torque that seems to pull forever. Along with that power is front-wheel drive and a special suspension, and that's only part of the reason the new Taurus SHO is in a class by itself. Take a look. Here are 25 of the world's most respected sports sedans. They all have 4 doors and performance images. Now, since SHO is over 200 horsepower, let's eliminate all those automobiles with less than 200 horsepower. Here's what we're left with: 9 cars. How about narrowing the field a bit more and remove those over, say, $60,000? Now let's get real world and limit our choices for a sophisticated world-class sports sedan for under $40,000. That's right, there's only one, Taurus SHO. But lest you think I'm being prejudiced, Car and Driver called it America's best sedan and said that the only production 4-door sedans faster or quicker are BMW $71,000 750 IL and $51,000 M5. The SHO outperforms such premium price performance sedans as Mercedes 300E and 560 SEL.
That's a remarkable automobile. SHO is truly a unique opportunity to gain sales in this market niche. Because as we saw, there really is no competitor that offers Taurus SHO's combination of performance and value within its price range. And while we're talking front-wheel drive performance cars, there's also Probe. We ought to give our audience an update on Probe's competitors.
And we will, but first, it's time for Competition Today's first question.
How many Ford Probes were sold as of November 1st, 1988?
Well, as of November 1st, 1988, 61,146 Probes had been sold. You know, Nancy, lately it seems everything Ford and Ford dealership sales personnel touch turns to gold. And the Probe GL, LX, and GT are definitely golden.
Jim, the hot Probe goes up against a mixed bag of sporty cars. The new rear-wheel drive Nissan 240SX, which is offered in both the fastback and notchback styles, and which has received good reviews so far, and some front-wheel drive competitors like the Beretta GT, Honda Prelude S, the new Plymouth Laser and Mitsubishi Eclipse, and of course, Toyota Celica.
Toyota's certainly been a major force in every market they've entered. Up till Honda beat them, weren't they the #1 import brand for a number of years?
Yes, and they're very good automobiles, there's no question.
But Celica's been around for a couple of years now. Doesn't that make it a bit more vulnerable?
Well, perhaps, but Toyota isn't standing still either. For instance, Toyota took last year's Celica and added 3-point rear seat belts, an automatic transaxle lock, and new audio systems. The Celica line includes the all-track turbo, an all-wheel drive turbocharged sports car. The Celica line also includes the GT convertible and liftback, the GTS Sport Coupe, and the ST Sport Coupe. All in all, it's a very strong lineup.
Whoa, this is supposed to be a competitive comparison. You make it sound like Toyota's invincible.
No, Jim. Take a look at how Probe GL compares against the Celica GT liftback. The Celica GT does have 5 horsepower more, though that's at a much higher RPM. But torque is what makes the difference in performance, and Probe has almost 15% more torque. And besides features advantages and power advantages, Probe GL with the preferred equipment package 251A stickers at over $11,000, while the GT liftback stickers out $2,300 more.
There's a lot Celica doesn't have, including cargo space. Look at the difference between Probe and Celica.
The GL is not the only Probe with advantages over Celica. Probe GT, compared against Celica's GTS, also comes out on top.
The Toyota Celica GTS liftback and the Probe GT offer high levels of feature content, and both have packages which add more features. But some items are still extra cost on the Celica, even with their power package.
And Probe GT has many features not available on Celica GTS at any price. And speaking of price, Probe also supplies tremendous value, because comparably equipped, Probe GT is over $1,000 less than the Celica GTS with their power package.
Nancy, that's a remarkable value story for Probe, both GL and GT.
But while we're talking 1989 performance and value, we'll want to certainly include America's best-selling small, sporty car.
Well, that must be Mustang, and we'll take a look at Mustang and Mustang's competitors right after this question.
In what model year was Mustang first introduced?
There's something about the sound and feel of a traditional V8 that isn't matched by anything else.
It certainly is distinctive, all right. So when was Mustang introduced?
Mustang was introduced in the spring of 1964. The Mustang's been around for a quarter century. It's 25 years old this model year. And no matter what it's been called, pony car, muscle car, whatever, it has always delivered optimum value.
Is Camaro the Mustang's primary competitor?
Well, for the GT, yeah. The Pontiac Trans Am, Dodge Daytona Shelby Turbo, and especially the Camaro IROC Z Coupe are Mustang GT competition. But remember, the Mustang Focus vehicles are the LX sedan and hatchback with the 240B preferred equipment package. In that case, you've got cars like the Pontiac Firebird, Dodge Daytona, and particularly the Camaro RS Coupe. They're all sporty cars with attractive prices and fairly high levels of features and equipment. And in this class of sporty cars, it's value that's important. Mustang is sticker priced almost $1,600 less than Camaro. So you can see how competitive Mustang is. That's the kind of value that's made it the segment sales leader.
Jim, you said the Mustang and Camaro rivalry goes back a ways.
Yes, it does, Nancy. A decade ago, Camaro had taken the lead from Mustang. In the 1978 model year, for instance, Camaro outsold Mustang by almost 70,000 units, almost 30% more. But last year, with your help, Mustang outsold Camaro by about 2 to 1. That's a tremendous success story. But the marketplace is still changing. Sporty cars have come and gone. But I think Mustang will handle them just like it's handled Camaro, especially in value for the performance dollar. Value is one of the major reasons that year after year, Mustang has won the Motor Trend shootout with Camaro.
Jim, you said performance.
Performance dollars. Value, Nancy. If you compare Mustang GT and Camaro IROC Z, you have two well-equipped rear-wheel drive high-performance cars. But Chevy's IROC Z is almost $1,000 more than Mustang GT. That's definitely performance value. So it's clear why Mustang GT outsells Camaro. And it's clear that with Mustang LX, the new LX 5-liter sports series, and of course Probe, the sporty car market segment belongs to Ford. Clear winners from Ford.
Jim, Ford's got winners everywhere, including our audience, the Ford dealership sales force. But as good as Ford's cars are and Ford's salespeople are, our success is nothing to be taken for granted. You're on top now, and the competition's aiming at you. So use your competitive information. Know your competition. So until next time, I'm Nancy Rice.
And I'm Jim Hill.
Wishing you good selling.
Of America's best cars and trucks against all of the competition.
Goodbye.
So long.